All right, what's up, everyone? Let's jump in today. We're going to talk about easy enough for me to say periodization. Say that three times. And basically, periodization in the form of training. We'll talk about training. Yes, you can periodize your nutrition. You can periodize sleep, everything else. Your work, you can periodize everything. But periodization basically means your plan, having a plan. And hear a lot of people talk about how periodization is dead now. And in terms of like when you're looking at like strength and conditioning, like colleges and pro athletes and stuff like that, they have like the year long plan. Everything's planned out to a T. Every set, every rep, every rest break, every drink of water, every breath. And that is definitely dead. Especially maybe it works in college athletics. Maybe it works in pros. Probably doesn't. Uh, if you're being honest, I haven't worked in those sectors, so I'm not totally sure. But I can imagine just having everything planned out perfectly is never going to work out. But when you're working with youth athletes like I am with, you're working with general population people, that doesn't work. You can't have a full year long plan. It's not going to work. It's good to have an idea, like an outcome. Maybe they have a specific goal they want to reach. Yeah, we can have a general outline, and you need to have some sort of plan rather than just go willy nilly and throw crap at the wall every day and hopefully it sticks. But having this perfect specified plan that's 52 weeks long and you got every little detail notched out and think it's going to work out perfectly, it's not. I've tried nothing like that long, but you try having a plan for like 12 weeks, things like that, all the details in, and then you start working with people and you realize that life happens. Things get in the way, things happen. People get sick, they get injured, they have to miss a session for whatever reason it is, or they have to change the time, or they had a bad night's sleep, or they're just not up to par for whatever reason. That's totally fine because that is how life works. We're not always going to be perfect. We're not always going to be feeling great. And it is good in general to have that plan, to have the plan to work off of. But it's more so you want a template, a guide, but you can adjust it. I always liked what Joe D always says is have your plan written in pencil, not pen, because you can adjust as you go in. And once you actually work with people, whether that's in person, whether that's online, it's harder online because you can't see them. But if your clients are good at communicating with you, and you are a good coach and work and make sure you know how your clients feel and check in with them and make sure everything's up to date, you can adjust. And adjusting on the fly is big, especially it makes it easier when you're in person, obviously, where you can see, you see this person come in, they're just dragging, and you had this awesome day planned out. Hit we're gonna get a heavy set of some heavy sets of squats. We're gonna get some good sprints in. We're gonna do some good jumps, but then they come in, they're just dragging, and it's like, well, and most of them will always say, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm personally like that. I'll say, oh yeah, I'm fine. That's the old athlete mentality in me, where you never want to show your weaknesses, or you want to show that you're beat or something like that. You don't want to show you're banged up and injured or tired. You gotta have that game face and that ready face, and you never want to come out of the game, so to speak. Kind of like the whole thing with Richardson tapping himself out of the game. You don't see that from quarterbacks. Maybe if he would have broke like a 99-yard run and got tackled, and then he was tired. But no, you don't come out of the game. No athlete should want to come out of the game. Even when you're hurt, you don't want. Most athletes don't want to come out of the game. I mean, look at Brett Favre. That guy never came out of the game, and he broke everything. But we're not always going to have great days. So having this perfectly scheduled plan out, we're going to have this day is going to be lower body, this day is going to be upper body, this day is going to be mobility, this day is going to be lower body, and then upper body, and then you have this perfectly phased out plan. It usually does not end up the way you want it. You're going to change things. And the best way to do that, again, is autoregulation. If you're training by yourself, autoregulation is just adjusting to how you're feeling that day. That's what I look at it as, adjusting to how you're feeling. And that's a lot of times where programming percentages on lifting is not the best, or programming certain sets and reps might not always be the best. Maybe it's like this morning in my training session, I was doing front squats focusing more on speed and power rather than heavy. So it was probably about, I don't know, 60, 70% of my, sorry, next, a little cranky, uh, of my max, but trying to move that as fast and having the velocity based training system, my push band on there so I could track the bar speed, and having a goal to have each rep above 0.7 meters per second, and just doing that until that time dropped off and the bar started to move slower. If you're good coaches, will be able to see this. I can pretty much feel it when I'm training because I've been training for so long now that I've gotten used to it on myself. But a lot of people don't know that, and having something like that can be another way to program rather than go till your speed falls off. Well, that could be a sprint, that could be a squat, that could be bench press. The bar speed that way is a good way to do it. It could be doing something until you're just disinterested. Sets and reps is pretty much I think is overrated. Just having the specific sets and reps. A lot of times, then because you just get sloppy, you lose disinterest right away because you got 3 sets of 10 or whatever. But another way to do it is program until you're disinterested. So maybe I do that a lot with jumps or cartwheels or those types of movements. Do it until you just lose interest in it, because that's when the intent falls off. That's when the engagement falls off, and then your effort's not there. That's a good time to call it. But again, you don't need to have the program, the specific sets and reps all the time. That auto-regulation comes in when you're just adjusting. You had a bad night's sleep. You are sick. Your kid kept you up all night. You got in a fight at work with your boss or whatever it is. You're stressed out to the max with overload at work and stuff like that. All these things play a factor in your training because training is a stress too. Everything else in life is a stressor too. So you got to adjust and realize that, if I have planned out this high intensity training session, but then I got to go to work and then I got to run the kids everywhere after school and stuff like that, it might not be the best. And then that wears on you. Then you wake up the next day for your training and you just feel like crap. So being able to listen to your body and to adjust is important if you are an individual training by yourself. If you have a coach, your coach should be able to help you with that. And if they're not, find a new coach. Find someone who is actually going to be able to help you adjust and auto-regulate, who can see when you're not feeling well or is asking you questions when you're training. How you feeling today? What's anything sore, anything like that? How was the sleep last night? How was the nutrition? How was stress? All that stuff. Just kind of taking a readiness factor and looking at that. But when it comes to terms of having this perfectly planned program, you're looking out 12 weeks, 6 months, whatever it may be. Who knows what the progress is going to be? Progress is going to be different for everyone. So you can't really have the perfect idea of how this person is going to react. They're going to adapt to the stimulus. They're going to progress. What's going to happen in their lives, in your life. So yes, it's great to have that idea of what you want to accomplish in the next 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, whatever it may be. But the way you're going to get there is going to be different. It's not going to be having this idea, this perfect plan. You might have to switch days around. You might have to run short on time. That happens a lot when life happens. You're training, and then you get, like myself, I'll use that as an example. Sometimes I'll get called into sub I usually train about 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock, start somewhere in there, And usually when I sub, I have to be there by 8 o'clock, and I walk there, so I leave my house at like 7:30, depending on what school I'm going to. So sometimes I'll get a call at 7 o'clock saying, can you come in? And most of the time I'll do it if it's a decent job in a class that I will enjoy. But, and then if I'm in them, a lot of times I'll be in the middle of a training session, and it's like, oh, I got to cut a few things short, or save some things for later. So maybe I'll split my training up. So I had planned for that one session, all that hour and 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes, let's say, for like when I go to the track and sprint and then come back and lift after that. So I had to split it up. So maybe I'll leave some lifts, do them later in the day, or I'll shift them to another session in a different day of the week. So that's the way you do it. It's not going to be, you can have this perfect thing on paper, but make sure you are writing in pencil and you're able to adjust it and change it, because you're not going to have this plan that you're going to follow to a T for an entire year, or even 12 weeks probably. You're going to change a lot of things as you go, and you should. That's what it's about, auto-regulating and going by how you feel. Maybe one day, and it doesn't have to be bad either. It could be, man, you're feeling great today, so why not on that day push it a little? Go for heavier weight, or do some sprints. Maybe because your day would call for a mobility recovery day, whatever you want to call a rest day, but you feel great, and it's like, oh, and then you want to go, so you do your sprint days or your high intensity sprints that day, something like that, or you test your max or whatever, you test something out. It's about listening to yourself and listening to your body and what you can do. When you're feeling good, go do it. When you're feeling crappy, pull back a little bit. That's that auto-regulation. Other factors, heck, it could be weather. It could be gym closure. Like I use the indoor track, and half the time they're closed when they're supposed to be open. They're not open on time. So I get angry in the moment because people aren't doing their job. So then I'm like, screw it, I got to go figure out something else. So I got to adjust. So there's all these different factors that play into it. And it'd be great to have this perfectly planned out year of training, but you got to be realistic. It's not going to happen. And that's where having a good plan that can adapt and adjust and allows you to flip things around, change things up, do something a little different, maybe a different movement. Maybe you're at a new gym and you don't have access to a certain piece of equipment, so you just switch it up to a back squat to a goblet squat or something, whatever it may be. You got to be able to adjust, because that perfect plan sounds great in idea, in theory, but it's not realistic, and it's not going to happen because, again, life happens. Whether that's, again, you're sick, or you're dragging, you didn't sleep well, the kids are crazy, driving you crazy, you're stressed out to the max, or you're just feeling great and you want to do some more. So it all comes down to you, how your body's feeling, that auto-regulation. Just listening to your body and adapting as you feel good, as you feel bad, how you're feeling, knowing how you're feeling in real highs, how the body is working there, if it's banged up, if it needs some more work on this, maybe you need a little bit more work and shoulders are tighter, back's feeling kind of cranky today, so you gotta do some extra crawls or some extra spinal mobility, whatever it may be, whatever body part it may be. Listen to your body, use your body as that tool to adapt and adjust your training. It doesn't have to be this perfect plan that's phased out. You got the I also don't think that's a great way either, is the phases. I think that's why I like the concurrent, conjugate, whatever you call it, whatever you want to call it, where you're training everything all the time. You're not training 4 weeks of power, 4 weeks of speed, then 4 weeks of strength, and then 4 weeks of hypertrophy. I've done that. I don't think that's a great way. Yes, maybe in the college setting, pro setting, it could work. But even then, you don't know when kids are going to show up, if they're going to get sick, when they got breaks and things like that, or they got classes, all these other conflicts. And that's even 10 times in real life when you're working with the general population. You don't know when people are going to show up. You don't know if they're going to be sick, if they're going to be hurt, if they're going to be stressed out to the max. So training everything all the time. You're training speed, you're training power, you're training strength, you're building muscle, doing conditioning. You're doing this at all times. Yes, you adjust throughout the days, throughout the months, as of what's most important, what the goals are. Again, adjust based on how they're feeling, those types of things. But within a given training session, within a given week, you could be doing all these different things rather than just focus on one. Yeah, you might not get as fast as possible if you as you would if you're just training speed, or as strong as possible if you're just lifting heavy. But again, most people I work with, most people in general benefit more from getting good at all the different things. Because I mean, yes, if you're an Olympic sprinter, you want to get faster, so you probably are going to have some sort of periodized thing like that, where it's phased out. But again, if you're just a normal person, even most athletes, you're probably going to benefit from training speed, from training power, from training strength, from training hypertrophy at the same time throughout the year. Because yeah, that 4 weeks of something's not going to do much anyway. 4 weeks of trying to build muscle is not going to do much. That's a long process. Anything's long. Just like getting better at a sport is a long process. Getting better at baseball, a swing is a long process. It's years and years and years and years of consistency. It's not minutes and seconds and days. That overnight fix. We're so spoiled by Amazon that we want everything overnight. That's not going to happen. It's long term. You got to think long term with your training, but having that perfectly designed, planned out everything to a T, that's not going to end up working. You're going to change everything as you go. And like I said, it's good to have an idea, an actual plan, and not just do the whole CrossFit model where it's all random all the time. You have a plan, but you are able to change that plan as you see needed as you go along, and you realize, oh, maybe I'm advancing faster than this. I can do more weight now, or whatever it may be. Or my sprints are better now. I'm jumping higher. So that plan can be a good guideline, but don't be so stuck that, oh, I feel like crap this day and I'm supposed to run 4 fly 10s at my fastest speed, whereas you're just dragging and you're not actually training speed because you're not going fast enough. So then maybe that's a day where you flop that, put that to another day, and you do a mobility day, a movement day, just to feel a little bit better, something like that. Or you get a pump in, or whatever it may be. But don't be afraid to adjust as you go and auto-regulate. That's the key word. That it just means adjusting to how you feel, adjusting to how things are going, how hectic life is. That's what auto-regulating is. It's adjusting your training to you, or your coach is adjusting it to you. So that's what I have for you today, guys. Hopefully that helped. Hopefully got some key points out of that. Maybe take something from it. Again, that's what I always want you to do, is take something from it. Maybe not everything resonates with you, but hopefully something does. Hopefully you can take some little point and apply it to your life, because don't just learn things and read books and watch TV and take stuff from it. Apply it to your life, apply it to your training, apply it to your nutrition. So that's what it's all about. It's because if you don't apply it, you're not going to use it. You're not going to see the benefits or reap the rewards. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again, and have a great day.